Hello everybody, Falsi Insomnia here. I got another video. So I will be showing you how not to be poor in ESO, which it is surprisingly easy. This is better than doing writs. This is better than farming motifs. This is better than anything else I've tried in the game, and I've been doing this for years. So now, with the Imperial City, has always been profitable. Some people sell Heike Joes, some people buy powerful salt ice staff boxes, but the alchemy ingredient bags, the wax apothecary parcels, are the most profitable thing you can do. Right? You get columbine, powdered mother of pearl, bug loss, all the expensive alchemy ingredients. Now, Imperial City has gone through some changes, good changes. Now, if you have ESO Plus, you get 10% more Telvar from bosses and normal mobs. Now, bosses will drop 6 Imperial fragments, or they used to be known as key fragments, instead of 2. Also very nice. And they have merchants inside the Imperial City vaults now. Now, they all sell resources, right? Blacksmithing, clothing, woodworking, all that. But the one inside the arena district sells alchemy ingredients, which not even the regular Televar merchants drop. So you can get Dragon Rheum, Charnus eggs, everything, just everything. Columbine, bug loss, and now you have a good use of Imperial fragments now. So in this video here, I offer 3 different methods in order to farm Telvar and Imperial fragments. Now, they range from easy to medium to hard difficulty, based off what kind of player you are, how experienced you are, what you're willing to risk here, right? And I'll go into details about every single one. So let's start with the very first one here. The first spot that we have here takes place on the Daggerfall side of the Imperial Sewers. So it is out of the way for most people, which is good, because if you're looking for a grind where you're not going to encounter many players or any at all, then this spot's going to be the best. However, it is the lowest yielding Televar out of all of them, so that's something to be mindful of. However, if you want to take a low-level character into this spot and just grind up your XP and your fighter skill, because technically you're killing vampires here, you can. So you get good XP, Televar, Imperial fragments, and fighter skill points. So you get about 1,500 Telvar on average per rotation. So each rotation takes about 4 minutes. And then you can get around 6 to 10, 6 to 12 Imperial fragments. It's roughly in that range. It can change. The medium method here takes place at Mokball. So not a lot of people understand how much Telvar you really make at Mokball, because most people will come down here with 6, 7, 8 plus more people, right? But it works out pretty well here. It's relatively safe. So you might have the weekend guild that comes down here sometimes, just declare it once or twice, or you might see a ganker here and there, but relatively no one comes down here. Now, the clear times can vary. Now, if you're on this build here, the Werewolf Bruiser build, you can clear it out pretty fast. It's on my channel here if you want to try it out. You could use a heavy attack build. You will clear it significantly faster with a heavy attack build, but then again, it is PvP. So if you see someone down here and you're on a heavy attack build, you may have a hard time trying to make it out of that. But that's a risk versus reward there. So you can make that decision there. Now, you will get approximately 13k Televar if you clear this by yourself with a 4 times modifier, and about 30 Imperial Fragments, which is pretty good. Now, the bonus thing about being down here is when you fight Mokball, he can drop one of 3 different things here. It is random if he drops any of them at all, though. He can drop a Haikijo, which on Xbox NA is worth around 12k to 15k gold. He can drop a Stone Fire Scamp, which is about 10k gold, and then a Soul Shriverin Skin Rune Box, which I got one last week and I sold it for 450k gold. Now, with that being said, this is a grind I think that just about anybody can do. All right, this is not hard. This is pretty easy PvE content here in PvP. You know, you just have to worry about the occasional player here. That's mainly about it. Some of the bosses can be annoying. Typically, the more flags the boss has on their back, the harder it is, but it's relatively easy. But this is the medium method here, and I think most players can do it, but enjoy it. The hard method here consists of farming the wandering bosses inside the Imperial City districts. So you can do this with up to 4 people, but I would only do it with 2 because you would cut in too much into your profits. But here, if you look in this picture, there's a lot of people farming this boss. And then the Televar in the bottom left-hand corner is in the 700 range. That is very low. That is not worth our farming bosses at all. So it's generally better if you farm by yourself or with one other person here. But it is not safe compared to the other methods because more people come to the city than anywhere else in the Imperial City or Sewers. So now there are things you can do to limit the chances of getting into a conflict or dying. So if you see here in the video, I am dragging the boss into a building. Now, most buildings are going to be okay here to bring them into, but usually the ones farther off in the back or ones that have like second floors that's kind of hard to see into are the ones you want to go to, because 1, you won't have to worry about enemy players coming in and trying to kill you, and B, you don't have to worry about people on your alliance coming in to get the hits on the boss, which would result in you getting less Televar. Now, the big factor here is each boss respawns after 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, the boss will respawn and you can kill it again. So you need to set a timer after you kill it and immediately go back after the 15 minutes is up and bring the boss into the building again, because you don't want the boss to walk around during that time period, because someone else might see it and might start attacking it, pull it off somewhere, and then you lose that boss again for another 15 minutes. So it's very important that you use a timer in order to maintain your boss grind here. Now, the ideal Televar range, if it can be helped, if you are by yourself, is around 10k Televar to 15k Televar, in that range. Obviously, it's going to be lower if you're going to have other people with you. Now, it is important to understand how the flags here work. So, with the flags inside the districts here, you will get up to 33% more Televar for every flag that your alliance owns. So that's how you can get to such a high Televar modifier when you kill a boss. That's how you can get 15k Televar. So now the issue here is you got to make the decision. Are you going to attack a flag, or are you going to go after a boss? Generally, if you're solo by yourself, I would just go after the bosses. But if you're with multiple people, say 3 or 4, you can send a couple people off to take the flags while you're fighting the boss, and they can join you once they've taken the flag. So there's pros and cons to it right there. But in general, it's easy. However, the important thing here is the build that you plan on using. So if you want to use a build like my Werewolf Bruiser build that's on my channel, it can kill these bosses in about 2 minutes. It's tanky, and it has 60% extra movement speed if you include the major expedition off the roll dodge from the bow. So you can get away from players if you need to, if you're really outnumbered, and it can kill bosses pretty fast. Now, the thing to consider is if you run, say, like a Templar. You got your jabs, you got your beam. It works out pretty well. Most builds will work down here. Just make sure it's still somewhat PvP oriented. You don't want to be that person that runs around with 21k health on a heavy attack build, just gets nuked instantly. That's never a fun time. But besides that, this is the video. If you guys have any questions about the process here on how to make gold using Telvar, if you guys have your own way of making gold, feel free to add in the comments. But besides that, you guys have a great day.